This is a tough one.
Yeah, I think this is a tough one, but I don't know. It might. There's some dead giveaways. If I had to put money, I think you're gonna get it. But it's one of those questions where you either know it or you don't. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to kind of reason your way into it, which you're particularly good at. But anyway, go ahead, Gary. Who's it from and where are they from?
Here's the question. Hal from Delmar asks, Spencer repeating guns were technically advanced, used cartridges, a recent development, and could fire 7 shots in 15 seconds. But the Army didn't want a repeating gun, fearing that the soldiers would fire more often, constantly need fresh ammunition, and overtax the supply system. What elected official changed the Army's mind after firing one for himself?
This segment is sponsored by Seal One. Go to seal1.com. That's their website, seal1.com. Seal One makes gun ownership easier and smell better. The live fire class with Massad Ayoob is sold out, but here's your chance to win big. A 4-day MAG 40 class with Massad Ayoob himself. That's both live fire and classroom training, an incredible opportunity.
See, Gary, that's it. That's your end. Buy a lot of Seal One.
You got to buy some Seal One, it looks like.
Well, I'm going to have to get a couple of cases if I want to get in the class.
Yeah.
Here's how to enter. Go to seal1.com, spend $25 or more, and you're in. It's that simple. Don't wait. Stock up now and secure your chance to train with the best. Seal One's at SHOT Show, by the way. If you're going, stop by booth number 71054. 71054. Say hello to the Seal One gang, and thank you so much, Seal One, for sponsoring this segment.
And it really smells good.
Yeah, right. Use it as a clone. A little aftershave, Speaking of aftershave, Sam, how you doing, bud?
I'm well. How are you guys?
Good, man. Good to see you. You doing all right?
Likewise.
Gary's got a question for you. You ready to answer it?
I hope so. You guys have been throwing me some tough ones lately, so we'll see.
Here's the question. This is a tough one.
Yeah, I think this is a tough one, but I don't know. It might. There's some dead giveaways. If I had to put money, I think you're gonna get it. But it's one of those questions where you either know it or you don't. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to kind of reason your way into it, which you're particularly good at. But anyway, go ahead, Gary. Who's it from and where are they from?
Here's the question. Hal from Delmar asks, Spencer repeating guns were technically advanced, used cartridges, a recent development, and could fire 7 shots in 15 seconds. But the Army didn't want a repeating gun, fearing that the soldiers would fire more often, constantly need fresh ammunition, and overtax the supply system. What elected official changed the Army's mind after firing one for himself?
Hal from Delmar, thanks very much for writing in. Interesting question. And Gary, thanks for reading the question. It's talking about the Spencer repeating rifle and related Spencer carbine, which are lever action firearms, but not like the ones we know of today. The trigger guard itself forms the lever. There isn't a separate lever that's attached to the trigger guard like you and I would expect. But the magazine is also unusual on the Spencer platform in that it's housed inside the stock. You don't have a magazine tube underneath the barrel like you do on a Henry or a Winchester or what have you. You instead have a tubular magazine that's located in the stock. To reload it, you have to open up the compartment in the butt of the gun, and that's how you get at it. Now, the question was what public official counteracted, or I should say countermanded Army ordinances, one could say unwarranted conservatism when it comes to adopting new small arms, and was so motivated by his experience shooting a repeating rifle and was so impressed that he was willing to go over the heads of his own subordinates. That was Abraham Lincoln.
There you go.
U.S. president at the time, 16th president of the United States, who had the opportunity to shoot one.
I think just the idea of President Lincoln shooting a Spencer rifle kind of tickles me a little bit. I don't know why.
Here's the long answer. In 1863, President Lincoln test-fired a Spencer. His approval led to the purchase of 107,372 Spencer repeating carbines and rifles of 144,500 made, and the Spencer became the principal repeating gun of the Civil War.
Gary, did you know that? Would you have been able to answer that question?
Yes.
Really? Why? Are you a Civil War buff?
Well, I knew that the Spencer was from Civil War, so the only person that I would have back-ended into it. I wouldn't have known about Lincoln. I would have known the time period of the Spencer.
I think that there's definitely a I think that's definitely a route to take. I think I thought, you know what, he's probably gonna, if he doesn't know, he's gonna know that way.
I don't think it would have been Buchanan or Johnson. So either one of those two would have been out for me. That would have left Lincoln.
He deduced it. Well, it could have been Grant. Could have been Grant.
Well, Grant was too late. That was 1876. Yeah.
Alicia, did you know that?
No, I'm not even going to try and say I did.
Yeah.
No.
That's my nephew,
Absolutely
Gary.
not.
That's my nephew, man. What do you think? My sister's kid.
Well, you got that going for you.
On my mom and dad's side. You know what's funny? I'm going to say, I hope this doesn't embarrass you, Sam, but when I sit there and listen, first off, you do an excellent job of lecturing. I mean, every time we bring something up, you add something to it, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever said this before, but as he talks, it is so interesting to me because the words he chooses and the way he structures his sentences, if I closed my eyes, it's my dad. But his actual voice and the way it sounds and the way he delivers it, it's his dad. It's my brother-in-law.
Well, if he starts yelling, Michael, have you mowed the lawn? Is that going to give you flashbacks, or is it?
It's so interesting. It's so interesting. Anyway, Sam, I hope that didn't.
That's about the highest compliment I could receive.
Well, they're both great men.
Yeah.
Truly.
Sam, I definitely learned something from your talk about the trigger guard and the loading tube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, the Spencer's neat, and it's one of those sort of, I guess you could say, evolutionary dead ends in that it was revolutionary for its time, but the core design didn't really survive to the modern day. Like you look at something like the 1911 for comparison, that same tilting barrel action and some of how like the trigger group operates and things like that. Those have persisted. Those have been taken and tweaked a little bit, but and things like old Henry rifles. The same basic action was changed around a little bit, but persisted largely. But the Spencer, you didn't really see a lot of modernized Spencers. That platform kind of died out.
Any relation between the gun and the shop at the mall?
I'm not aware of any.
All right.
But sorry, one more thing.
That's the intellectual level I add to the. All right, let's move on to our next segment. This is wait. Oh.
One more thing, briefly. You noted that it seems sort of interesting to imagine a U.S. president firing a prototype military rifle and being so impressed with it, but. Past presidents were a lot of past presidents were avid sportsmen, avid outdoorsmen. As I'm fond of pointing out, President Theodore Roosevelt hunted with a suppressed Winchester Model 1894, making him more operator than all of us combined.
Well, I don't think it's not so much that he was a president. It's just that Abraham Lincoln, it just kind of tickles me. I have the feeling that he truly enjoyed it. And he's kind of small or tall and gangly, and it just kind of tickles me. And he's one of those guys.
Don't forget, Abe Lincoln was a redneck for his day. He was from the middle of nowhere. He grew up in a log cabin.
I hear you.
Hadn't heard that.
My old man says that he is Abraham Lincoln is the one person in history where the more you learn about him, the more you like him. You know, usually you hear about your heroes or whatever, and you go, I didn't know he had that flaw, or I didn't know he did that in his life. But with Abraham Lincoln, he's the one exception. He's the total opposite. The more you learn about him.
Talk about the right guy at the right time. He probably saved the United States.
Amen.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'm Michael from Gun Owners Radio. If you liked what you saw, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and make a comment. Help us out. Go to gunownersradio.com. Thanks for watching.